Hello everyone, myself Simran from Team CloudyML, and today I've brought to you another SQL interview question asked by the company Oracle. Okay, so in this session we are going to look at an interview question of SQL which was asked by the company Oracle with the detailed solution of this question. So before moving ahead with the main question, this is a quiz that you need to solve, okay? And if you know the answer to this quiz, you can put it down in the comment section. So the question is, what is returned by ELT of 2ABCD? So ELT is a function in SQL, and you need to answer that what will be returned by this function. And these are the four options. So before moving with the main question, try to solve this question and put down the answer in the comment section. So let's start with the question. The question says that create a SQL query to list all of the salespeople names that had no orders from the company called Red and return the result table in any order. So you need to create a SQL query that has to list all the salesperson's names that had no orders from the company named Red. Okay, they had orders from all the companies, but not from the company Red. So various three tables are used in this problem statement. First is the salesperson, then the company, then the orders. So in the salesperson's table, you have the columns like column name, sales IDs, name, salary, commission rate, hire date. Okay, in the sales ID, you have the end data type, name varchar, salary int, commission rate int, hire date as date. Then you have the company table wherein you have the company ID, name, and city. Then you have the orders table where you have the order ID, the order date, company ID, sales ID, amount. This company ID is the similar column in the company, which is the company ID. Okay, so company ID is the foreign key in the orders table, and sales ID is also the foreign key, which refers to the salesperson table. Okay, so this is the sample input. Okay, salesperson's table wherein you have the sales ID, name, salary, commission rate, hire date. Okay, we have 5 records in it. Then you have the company table wherein 4 companies are present: red, orange, yellow, and green. So you need to find the salesperson who haven't got any orders from the red company. And finally, you have the orders table. Okay, wherein you have orders detail. See, company ID is also present in this table and sales ID is also present. And this is the output wherein you have the names like Amy, Mark, and Alex. So if you see that Amy, Mark, and Alex, Amy has the sales ID 2, Mark has 3, Alex has 5. So 2, 3, and 5. And if you see in the orders table, the sales ID 2, 3, and 5 are not present. Only 5 is present. Okay, so what you need to find out is that the salesperson who haven't ordered from the company Red. And if you see that in the company ID, Red is for the Red company ID has the first ID number 1, which is, you see here, 1 and 1 for the order ID 3 and 4, and the corresponding sales ID are 1 and 4. Okay, so if you see the sales ID 1 and 4 are John and Pam. So John and Pam have ordered from Red company, but you want the salesperson who haven't ordered. So the salesperson who haven't ordered will be Amy, Mark, and Alex. Why? Because John and Pam have already ordered and Amy, Mark, and Alex haven't ordered. Okay, so you get the output as Amy, Mark, and Alex. So let's see how to solve this question in MySQL Workbench. So first we will be starting by creating the database. So create the database, give the name as data11 and use this database. You can create the database with any name that you want. Run. Okay, after this, we need to create three tables which are our input tables, like the salesperson, the company, and the orders. Okay, so these are the queries that are used for creating the table. So first, let's create the salesperson table. You can insert any values that you want, but I'm using the sample input values only so that we can clearly understand the output. So this is the salesperson table. Similarly, we will be creating the company table as well. Done. The company table has created with 4 companies in it. And now it's time for the orders table. So run this, and the orders table is also created. Now let's move ahead with the first approach to solve this question. Okay, in this approach, we are not going to use any joins on all the 3 tables, but we're only going to join 2 tables. So let's first write the query and then understand the query. So s.name, we will be selecting the s.name from the salesperson table, and the alias is given as s. Okay. Where, I'll take this where down, salesperson s, where s dot sales underscore id not in. Okay. Now in this not in, we will be joining the 2 tables which are our orders table and the company table. See, I'll show you how. So select o dot sales id. Your o is nothing but the the orders table. So o dot sales id from orders o, and we will left join this with the company table. So company C on o dot company ID. If you see that the company ID is the common column between the orders table and the company table. So C dot company ID, where C dot name equal red. Okay, so let's run this query first and then understand what it exactly means. There's some error. Sales dot ID. Now run it. So you see, we have got the sample output, Amy, Mark, and Alex. So our query was absolutely correct. I'll explain the query to you. Okay, so what we have done is we simply select the S name from salesperson S. Okay, where sales.id not in. Now in this not in, first let's understand the inner query. Okay, so that we get a clear idea of the outer query. In the inner query, we are selecting the o.sales ID. O.sales ID is nothing but the sales ID column of the orders table, and we are joining it with the company C, which means the company table on the columns company ID, and we are only selecting those for which the company name is equals to red. Okay, see, we have two tables. First is the orders table and the company table. Okay, and we are joining the company table. We are joining the two tables based on the common column, which is the company ID. See, we have in the orders table we have, I guess, 5 columns or 3 columns. Let's check it. In the company table, we have 3 columns, and in the orders table, we have 5 columns, which is the order ID, order date, company ID, sales ID, and amount. So suppose this is the orders table, wherein you have the order ID. Next, you had the order date, order ID, date, company ID, company ID. Then you had the sales ID. And finally, you also had the amount. So one more column and amount. Similarly, you have the company table. But in the company table, you have 3 columns only. First, the company ID. Then you have the company name, okay, and company city. Okay, what we do is we join these 2 tables. Okay, these 2 tables are joined based on the common column. Here, the common column is the company ID. If you see, then company ID is the common column. So these 2 tables are joined using the company ID. And what we retrieve is we give the alias as O over here. For the orders, we give the alias as O. Okay, and for company, we give the alias as C. So what we retrieve is we retrieve the sales ID. Why? Because sales ID is the common column between sales table, salesperson table, and the orders table. Correct? See, this is the salesperson table, suppose. In salesperson table, you have the sales ID. Correct? So sales ID is the common column between the orders table and the sales table. So that is why we retrieve the O dot sales ID from this table. Only for which when these 2 tables are joined, when the orders table and the company tables are joined, then the columns are also joined, which means these all columns are joined. So we retrieve the O dot sales ID for only those values for which the company name is equal to red. Okay, we retrieve only those data for which the company name is equal to red. We retrieve the sales ID. So after sales ID are retrieved, then we check if these sales ID, the S dot sales ID, okay, the S dot sales ID are present in this sales ID or not. If they are not present, then and only then we give it in the final output. Okay, why? Because we don't need the values or the salesperson that have ordered from red. So that is why we use the not in keyword to check whether these sales ID are present in these values or not. If they are not present, then only we extract it in the final output, or else we don't extract it. Okay. So this was the entire query, wherein first we joined the tables order and company based on the common column, which was the company ID, and we retrieved the sales ID for which the company name is red. Then we check whether the salesperson name from the S table, which is the salesperson table, is present in the extracted sales ID or not. If they are not present, then only they are extracted in the output, or else the sales ID are not extracted. So this was the first approach. Let's move ahead with the second approach now. In the second approach, we will be joining all the 3 tables using the left join, and in this we are going to use the CT, which is the common table expression. So let's begin with temp as. So this temp is nothing but the common table expression name that we are using. Common table expressions are nothing but temporary tables that we create to ease our queries. So select a dot name. So a dot name, comma C dot name as company from salesperson. I'll keep it down so that you can see it properly. Salesperson A S. Second, salesperson A left join orders B. Okay. On when we use left join, we also have to give the common columns. So common column in our case is sales ID. So B dot sales underscore ID. Again, left join. We will be left joining the third table now, which is the company table. So company C. Again, we need to give the common column between sales or between orders and company. The common column, as we saw between the orders and company, was the company ID. So here also we specify on B dot company ID equals C dot company ID. Okay. So what we have done is we have simply joined the three tables, and finally we also specify that or C dot name, which is company dot name, is null. Okay, if the company dot name is null, then also it will join the tables. And finally, after performing the CT, after creating the common table expression, we extract the data from it. So select distinct name from temp. This temp is the CT name, where name not in, the name not in, select name from CT or from temp, sorry. A CT name is temp, where company equal red. If you remember, we had created a company column in this CT. See, this company column is this A dot name, commas. This C dot name is the company column. We have given the name as company to this C dot name. So first, let's run this query, and then we will understand it in detail. Run. There's some syntax error. Let's check. What error do we have? From salesperson B, left join orders B, then we get the common columns, then left join company C, again the common columns for C dot name is null, then we select the distinct name from temp, where name not in, select name from temporary, red, this is salesperson A. Now let's run it. So you see, we have retrieved the names as specified in the sample output, which is Alex, Amy, and Mark. So what we have done in this query is we've simply joined the three tables, and we have stored the result in the temp or CT, which is the temporary table if we see. And what we have stored in this temporary table is we have stored the A dot name and C dot name. Okay, your A table is the salesperson table, C table is the company table, and B table is the orders table. And we have stored this C dot name, the company name, as com. Okay, from salesperson A, we have left join it with the orders table B based on the common column, which is the sales ID, which is the common column. And after that, we have again left join the orders table with the company table on the common column, which is company ID. And we have also considered if the company name is null, then after specifying or after declaring the CT, then we need to retrieve the data from the CT. Correct? So for retrieving the data, we select distinct names from the temp table, where name not in, select name from temp where company is equals to red. Okay. So if the company equals to red, then the data will not be retrieved. But if the company is not red, then the data will be retrieved as name. So name is the column that we retrieved over here. Okay, simply we have joined the three tables based on common columns, and we have extracted the name for which the company ID is not equal to red. Okay, so this was the second approach. I hope you've understood both the approaches, and if you have any of your approach as well, you can put it down in the comment section. We will definitely check it. Okay, and also you can ask any of your doubts regarding this two approaches in the comment section as well. Okay, so I hope you've understood both of these approaches. Okay, so let's see the solution to the quiz that I had asked before starting the question. So this was the question, that what is returned by ELT to ABCD. So ELT in SQL is a function that returns the position or the element that is present at the given position. So here 2 is the position, and this is a list of elements. Okay, so it will return the element that is present on the second position. If you see the element B or the letter B is present on the second position, so that is why it will retrieve the letter B, which is the option number 2. So the answer for this question is B. So I hope you have understood both the approaches of this solution, and keep practicing, keep learning. Thank you. Do like and share the video, and also subscribe our channel. Thank you.